So today has already been a crazy day. I mean, this week has already been just crazy. Cuckoo bananas. The kids are sick. I am sick. We both have fevers. My stomach is like in those upset moments where it's just not fun. It's great. It's awesome. But, right now, as it stands, the kiddos are taking a nap, and I had a minute to come talk to you about soap that I already made. So, that works. I can do that. As an aside, it's very, very cold in here because I didn't prep for this and plan for this and therefore turn on the heater, so you might be able to see my breath. Gotta love the beauty of high definition cameras that pick up everything. So that might be happening too. I would like to thank the Sudsers for always being fine with the things that happen in order for me to get videos out to you. None of this has anything to do with what we're actually making today. It's just, hi, my update is we're all sick, and that's not fun. I will tell you what we are making today in just a minute, but before I do, hello, I am Mrs. Soap and Clay. Let's make stuff. I also have food on my shirt, which I just noticed. And I'm also holding my microphone because I can't find the stand. And I had to take it off of a boom thing. How's it going, Sudsers? Welcome back to the channel. You are at Soap and Clay, where we make all the soapy things. And you are here for day 244 of 365 days of soap. And today, we're getting into the summer and spring feel. Either one. Because it's almost time for that guy. And the way that I see it, when I look outside, I don't see that spring is just around the corner, but it is. And so my wholesale accounts that are definitely more on the ball when it comes to getting their products ready for, the next season, they also realize that spring is just around the corner. And so I have been cranking out all of their spring soaps, which is cool. This particular soap is an amazing soap because it's an orange mimosa, as opposed to the way I make my mimosas, which is primarily not orange. But yeah, so this is actually a really delightful scent blend. It's made completely out of essential oils, and because this is what this particular customer does. And speaking of this particular customer, it is Christina from A Drop in the Ocean. You know her. We did an interview. I talk about her all the time. I love her. And yeah, so I think I've shown you this recipe before. Definitely the pour, if not the recipe as well. But I think I've done this before. I've shown this to you on the channel before. This is going to be a quick and dirty way of doing essentially the same ombre gradient pour thing that I'm always confused about, the terms. I don't know what they are. And you're also going to be looking at some false trace because I was soaping in a very, very cold room when I made this. So, let's go to the pour. We can talk more about all things springtime, hopefully in a place where my breath is no longer still completely distracting me because I can see it. Hello, Sudsers. Let's make some mimosas in soap form. And really just mimosas in the coloring and the scent of this. There's nothing special that goes into this. Although you can do, if you would like to, you can totally use, like champagne in place of your water. Either, a portion of your water or all of your water. And I've done whole ass videos on water substitution. So you can go check those out for more information. And I've also done whole ass videos on, different ways to incorporate alcohol into your soaps. This particular one does not have alcohol in it. So really, this is just my friendly reminder to all of you that spring is just around the corner, and it's time to get your spring and summer soaps ready to go. The only real difference with this soap as opposed to, another soap is that I did actually include quite a bit of soap nuts, so soap powder, in the lye solution itself. And again, you can go full nut or you can go just the powder. And that's really just to produce a bigger bubble that also has a mild cleansing or conditioning agent to it, rather. And so other than that, kind of a basic recipe. You can kind of do whatever. This is really just, again, your reminder that spring is around the corner. Time for spring soaps. And also, this is really just kind of more about the pour than anything else. Now, I've done this particular pour on the channel before, I believe, and it took forever. So it's my Ombre Gradient. I'm still convinced that it's the same thing. But anyway, so basically the idea is you lay down some of your naturally, just pale cream colored soap base, and then put a little bit of the colorant in, a little bit at a time, and then pour over and over, and then the bar will gradually get, darker the further up you go with the pour. This was sort of my fast and dirty way of doing that, because I was pouring these right before I left for vacation in Colorado, and I had a shit ton of things to pour before I left for said vacation. And so I did it this way, and sort of, instead of just doing a little bit of color into the remaining soap batter, I put a little more than a little bit with each pass, and will ultimately achieve the exact same effect, which is cool. So this is just another one of those things wherein you can do it quote unquote right, or you can do it fast, and really it's not going to make much of a difference in the pour itself. This pour actually is very gorgeous. It is a lovely shift from your natural colored soap to your more orange in tone colored soap, and is absolutely delightful. But as you will be able to see with this, just doing a little bit of colorant at a time and gradually shifting the color really wouldn't have made this look any different. Now I am pouring this all on an angle, and to achieve my angled pours, I just take one of my rags and fold it a couple times and prop up one side of the mold that way. Well, for the bigger molds, it's easier in a lot of ways, but for most pours, it's just easier to do that. You always have a rag about, and so instead of finding things to prop up, your mold, just use one of your rags. It all completely works. Also, interestingly, I am pouring this in a very, very cold room. Very cold. It was like 20 degrees outside when I poured this, and I was basically working in an uninsulated building, which is just for another video and another conversation in and of itself, really. And it got thick really fast in the emulsion stage, but then it really loosened up as I continued to work with the batter because of false trace, really. And so I guess I've shown you false trace a number of times on the channel, really usually when I'm working in cold environments, to show you, what it is. But at this point in this pour, I was actually a little bit concerned that this was not properly emulsified because the batter was so thin. And to that, this is one of the reasons, which I've talked about before, why I like to Seapop things. Now, for people who have been asking me a number of times on the channel, because every day we get new soap makers, new sudsers that we get to welcome to the Sudser family, they ask every single day, what is Seapop? Seapop is cold process, oven process. So essentially what that means is your soap batter, after you've mixed the lye solution in with your oils, so your water and lye, and that cools down, and you have your oils, which you have heated up, so everything is fluid. You mix those together and it starts saponification. Now, saponification does have a heat component to it. So your soap continues to get hot while it's sitting in the mold and, turning into a solid. But I like to put a secondary heat phase to most all of my soaps. And the biggest reason why I do that is because it ensures that all of the big, bright, beautiful colors I've used are going to pop. But the secondary benefit of that is whatever extra heat you can get to a batch of soap will really ensure saponification in cases like this, where maybe emulsion did not occur, right? So yeah, for most all new soap makers, or just all soap makers in general, I really do always recommend using the Seapop method for soaps. And so after you have poured the soap, you take your mold and you put it into an oven that has been warmed to like its lowest setting. So around 180 degrees. When I put my soaps in the oven, I then turn the heat off and then just leave the oven closed for overnight or 12 hours or, whatever. And all of that heat, especially since I primarily pour in wooden molds, the soap is well insulated and the soap is actually accepting all of that heat and heating up hotter than it would if you were just leaving it on the counter. Thus, the big, beautiful, bright colors that you would get from your colors and forcing a gel phase, which is why you get nicer colors. The soap is shinier. And again, as I said, just in case you didn't quite hit an emulsion, and that's still not going to happen, and for some crazy reason it still didn't happen with all of the mixing of the soaps and the colors and the scents and everything after you take your stick blender out, the heat cycle is really going to essentially force that emulsion and that saponification no matter what, in most cases. Now, granted, I have also thrown a batch of soap on this channel, I think very early on in year one, to show you what lye heavy soap does look like. So it is still possible that you can end up with some weird soap after a Seapop, but it's really, really rare. So there's that. Again, this is assuming that your recipe is well balanced and you have the right amount of lye in the first place. So Seapop for your soaps for sure. And what the hell happened there? What cut through my soap? I really need to get Mr. Soap and Clay to replace some wires on my cutter because I keep trying to replace them and keep making a mess of it. And then that happens. One of the benefits of cutting soap, within 24 hours of pouring is that it's still soft enough to fix if something like that happens. But those soaps right there, as you can see, very lovely soaps. Like, it's not a perfect ombre or gradient or ombrient or whatever, but it is very, very pretty and still definitely gives you the nod to, a mimosa, because champagne and orange juice and mixy mix and all of the cool things. So absolutely gorgeous bars for sure. Interestingly, these bars needed to get to the customer faster than intended. And so I put them into the oven, I don't know, about a week after they were cured, or after they had been poured, to kind of speed up the water loss. Now, there's a lot of, nonsense information on both sides of the aisle as to whether or not that even helps. But what I did find is 12 hours in an oven, they did dry out, they did lose water weight, they did get harder faster. Does that mean it's all done? Well, no, not necessarily. But 2, I got cool glycerin rivers in these guys afterwards, which was really very cool. So I don't know if Christina took new pictures of this, because this is something she keeps in her spring line every year. But just in case, go check out her mimosa bars at adropintheoceanshop.com and see if she took new pictures of the new, bars for this year's line. Same recipe, same blend, same whatever. So there's no real reason why she would take new pictures, but just go check it out, see if she did, just so you can see the cool glycerin rivers, because my God, they were awesome. Or maybe if someone reminds me, I'll put it on the community tab too, because I did take a picture and send it to Christina after I had these guys in the oven for about 12 hours. So It's very, very cool. The pour itself, very fun, very enjoyable. This is one of my most favorite pours to do, just in general. Just things with angles and single colors just really makes me very happy. Look at all the cool differences in color and whatever you can get just using one color in your making. So yeah, very pretty. Again, friendly reminder, spring soaps, it's time for you to have them figured out and hopefully curing. That's day 244. And there it is, the orange mimosa. And yeah, absolutely gorgeous, and a faster way of doing a pour that I showed you before. Now, the laying down of really thin layers and just taking the color a little bit at a time from, white to darker, that's totally great, absolutely. But as you can see, in a quick and dirty way, it achieves ultimately the exact same thing and takes a fraction of the time. So I'm definitely here for that. For sure. If you are interested in these orange mimosa soaps, you actually can get them right now at a dropintheoceanshop.com. You can't get them from me. A, they're not my soaps. Two, my website's still not up. And so that's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to go continue to work on the website while getting some kiddo snuggles and get some tea and hope I, start feeling better. Really? And so that's the plan for the rest of my day. Soapandclay.com will be back up at some point. Again, I'm working on it. I know. I get all of your messages all of the time right now. Everybody's been very, very patient, and I really super appreciate you. All of you. Because you are my sudsers, and you guys are just really cool, exceptional human beings. And so thank you for that. Also, thank you for joining me for another round of 365 Days of Soap. I'm out of here for today, but I will most likely be back tomorrow for another round of soapy fun. Bye.